Hey, how's it going? I got a couple of cards for a yesterday and today read. So, first card is that's not the right one. This is the yesterday card, and the card number is 7. Coincidentally, the today card, also number 16, adds up to 7. So I guess I'm going to talk about that cross card wise. So the other day I had a 7 in the reading, and I had read the numbers on the other cards like a little bit, talked about them, and then just kind of glossed over the 7. And I wondered, why did you do that? Because I did have a thought about it, but it wasn't like numerology or related to a tarot card. In fact, it was the most common thing most people think of when they think of the number 7, and it was luck, but it just didn't seem in context to the rest of what I was saying, so I didn't include it. And now I can't remember what I was saying. I'd have to actually go back and look, but today I'm not gonna gloss over the 7s, because the other things that they kind of represent are like dizzying choices. Like on the tarot card, it's 7 choices, but in the context of this reading, I feel like, and just generally, right now, you have so many choices flying at you that it's way more than 7. Put it that way, it's a lot. And then the other thing about that is, as I said, the choices are coming fast. It also, I believe, represents fast moving pace, like, of your life, or of life in general, like things happening really quickly, like so fast that you can't track everything, and you miss stuff, and so you're surprised to learn things all of a sudden, or that something's changed. Like, just things are, I don't know why I'm getting like a rotating, God, okay, so the picture in my head that goes along with this is like an old-fashioned, like, slideshow, like your first movie projector thing. So it's very flickery because hand, rotated cylinder thing, whatever. Like, I don't know, it's just what happened in my brain. I'm just gonna share that with you. But it's what is it's the mechanism, the motor for, like, things going so fast. I don't know why it's an old-fashioned machine, though. And hand operated, I don't know, that's like the human element or something? Isn't everything? Well, no, but for our lives, kind of, we're self-centered. Everything's the human element. Okay, so back to these cards. This one says, one need not speak of ill remorse against another, as thy words shall return to you. So the language is really flowery, but the concept's pretty simple. If you say something bad about somebody, it's going to come back around in some way, and probably not one you're going to like, because what you said was not positive and complimentary. And that's all about, like, the energy behind, what you're saying, what you're putting out there. I don't know why I'm getting the energy of, like, that undermining, backstabbing, behind the back talk that people, I guess, do sometimes. I don't know, like, why you would do that. I mean, like, if I were to do that, it would have to be for some reason, like someone that I really cared about, that I was close to, in order to like make something help them in some way, like that's the only way I could see that I would do that. So okay, and the way we talk about each other has been on my mind a lot, and I haven't quite known how to like get anybody else's feedback on it, because the few forays I've made to like engage like in conversation with anyone about the subject has not gone well. Because here's the thing, and then it was just verified for me. I was watching a channel which I posted on my community channel from Kalina Malnar, and if you want to know more about her, then I suggest look at the video, and you can learn more from there. And also, you have a search bar. So anyway, but what she confirmed was that the saying the bad things, the judgment, and the picking apart, and I do it too. So I'm not coming from a space of like, you shouldn't do that because I am like better than you and I don't have that problem. No, I have the same issue, but not maybe to the same. Okay, the glare on my glasses is why I'm weaving all over the place. Okay, maybe that's a little better. Or here's an idea. How about turn the light down? So yeah. Anyway, the energy behind what you put out there, like it's so crazy. I was thinking about this yesterday because I was watching. I don't even remember what it was now. It was so good, but what I remember is a person in this production was just bad mouthing someone, and I thought, yeah, keep doing that because that's, gonna come back to bite you. Like that's, if you put that out there, if you put that kind of energy out there, then yes, it's gonna boomerang. Like cause and effect. That's how it works. Like you do something, if you poke something that's not bothering you, and it wakes up and feels attacked, it's because you basically did attack it. You did attack it. I'm thinking of like a insect hive where they're not gonna like discuss with you, and you're not gonna be able to say, "Oh, I was just joking," or whatever, deflection. They're not going to ask. They're just going to be all, you're standing there with a stick. Buzz, buzz. Sting, sting. And it's true. Like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. And, well, I haven't reacted this way, but the comedian Godfrey has a channel on YouTube, and he does a series of things, like little mini-series, if you will. And one of them is leave black people alone. And his favorite thing, he gets so happy, his glee is kind of contagious because the people do things that I have not done because, I don't know, I haven't felt the need, although it's come close a couple of times, but what he shows that is so funny to him and also to me is when a black person is just doing whatever and not affecting anybody else, and then someone will come up, and it's not always the Caucasian people, I have to say that, but it often is. That's been my experience. But they will come up and have something to say to the person that's not appreciated, like either they're trying to like order you around or just like interrogate you, like if you're waiting in your car for someone in a neighborhood that's unfamiliar with you, and you don't look right sitting out there waiting, like maybe it's taken a while, like I've seen it depicted over and over, like on actual video. In fact, they will be in these videos by Godfrey. So anyway, let's take the example of the guy sitting in the car. Well, that's not one though, so let's not take that one. But there have been ones where the confrontation has gotten heated, and then the black person just had enough and just smacked the other person, and it was what was called for. I'm sorry. You have to see. You might not be as amused as I am, but you might not have had people just walk up and like start telling you stuff, and you're like, I don't know you. You have no right. You're not like over me. You're not my parent or my boss. So why are you over here like trying to tell me what to do? That is the dynamic. And so maybe if you didn't understand why it was kind of satisfying to see someone to hear about someone getting a smack at the end of a confrontation, because that's what precedes the smack, maybe you have a better idea now why it's so amusing. Or maybe you just get, like, don't interfere with, like, anybody. Like, most people don't want some Karen walking up and lecturing them or scolding them. So, anyway, there's my little hype for Godfrey. Okay, but yeah, it's like my little crusade lately. Like, if you can't say something nice, then maybe you don't really need to say anything, because it's not as big a flex as you think to, like, shoot off your mouth and have, like, a big opinion about someone or a judgment. And, like, I'm literally, as I'm saying that, seeing social media that I'm on, where that happens. And I am not saying that people should not express their opinion. Oh my God, I don't have the right to. What I'm saying is that I can't keep doing the thing where I'm just all characterizing and like cursing people out for whatever, for so many reasons, but mainly because of the energy that it puts out there. And then not as much, I'm not as worried about it coming back to get me, because I have learned how to temper my words so if it happens at all, it's not as big of a slap for me, you know? And so, like I said, I'm not like 100% on this, but I really feel like it is to my benefit to not be doing that. And I mean, I feel like if it's no good for me, it's probably no good for you. So, just a suggestion, I guess, like, kind of think about, like, the effect of your words. Here's what I was going to say. So I'm watching some video yesterday, and I think it was, like, sports guys talking. A lot of World Cup stuff, so it might have been something about that. But I remember watching it and going, man, like, your words, you're like even the guy that this person was talking to, who wasn't the subject of what this other guy was saying, the other person there said, wow, man, like, those are some heavy words. That might be verbatim what he said, but when he said that, it was like what I was actually thinking, which was like, you are like, do you not realize you're putting so much emphasis and emotion into those words that it's basically an incantation? Like, you are putting a spell on this other person. And so, I know that's one of those things that is not so easy to swallow for people, but like the idea that the average person that has no thought of any kind of sorcery, let's call it that, on their mind, and is like, they would never, right? But there you are. Spells. Think about how spell and spelling and it, let's just say your grammatical spelling, if you apply too much energy and emotion to it, and even like a layer of intent with what's the impetus of the emotion, you're putting like some English on those words, like you're throwing a baseball. What did I just say? Like you're throwing something at someone. Kind of what you're doing. So that's what I mean by that. But I mean, I don't think it's so very far from like actual witchcraft. So just saying. Okay, so the next card, like I said, also number 7, but it's number 16 actually, which adds up to a 7 if you add the 1 and the 6 together, to be clear. And so this card reads, our love for one another is through the Sacred Heart in an elevated bliss of our Mother, Father, God's divine love within us. So that might be confusing to anyone not familiar with the language of like Mother, Father, God. But it's basically, I guess, Mary Magdalene's way from her time of saying an androgynous God. Like, it's not about gender. That I think that humans are probably way more concerned. Well, I feel like humans are just way more concerned with that particular aspect, and it's probably the least important thing about the Mother, Father, God. But anyway, yeah, let me go through that again. Our love for one another is through the Sacred Heart, which, you know, especially when it comes to these cards, is where the seat of your love is in your Sacred Heart, and from there, all other intelligence flows. So, our love for one another is through the Sacred Heart, in an elevated bliss of our Mother, Father, God's divine love within us. Well, that's, you know, I always go back to, like, the twin flame thing, because I feel like that's the ultimate culmination of all of the work we put into what these cards talk about. Like, take understanding the language forever, or being familiar with it. It's not exactly what I recall from when I went to Catholic school. Mary didn't really have a voice of her own, you know, like, I've learned things more about her, like, later, and can see her in a more human light. Although, you know, when I talk about her, like, she wasn't unaware of spells and the power of your words and all of that kind of thing. In fact, it's from learning about her and the learning that actually led me to this Mary Magdalene. That's where I grew my own understanding of the language, kind of, and then, like, what she stood for. And the ministry of the disciples and Jesus was about kind of like throwing cold water on us and trying to get us, well, I don't know, that's not right. But the realizations that they wanted to bring us to would have been like getting cold water thrown on you, because even in those times, programming was deep and efficient, and fear, you know, they knew how to work a fear, some of those leaders back then, and in that way, they weren't so different from all of us. But I'm getting sidetracked. The point is that she was kind of diametric, well, she was the one that understood Jesus the best, which made the other disciples, particularly Paul, a Karen. He was like jealous, basically. again, getting sidetracked, but maybe not. Like, maybe that's not extraneous information. But unconditional love, when you understand it and can, and like, when you understand it and can apply it in your life, then that is when you can reach that bliss. It's sort of like all of the steps you have to go through to get to the point where you can be in full understanding of yourself and know that your most basic needs you can actually find within you, and even anything that expands from that, like more extravagant, is developed from within and then flows without, and then you are able to access these things that you I guess we're aspiring to or something. But really, like, the main treasury is inside of us. Like, whatever we want, like, whatever we need, is already going to be accessible to us. And whatever we want, no, that goes into a different territory. So I did want to talk about something else, and it's Jim Carrey. So I was watching a documentary about Jim Carrey, and I don't know if everyone is aware of this, but a lot of people think he's no longer with us. And if you see him out and about, it is a clone. And so I'm still, like, not entirely convinced on this clone thing, although he might, because the reason why I'm not totally convinced is because I'm like, why clone this person? Why would it be worth it for this person to still be around? Like, what chess piece are they that is so important? And in his case, I can, but what I have been kind of wondering about is he actually expired, or is he still around? So I have meditated on it, and I've just asked the question and sat quietly, and I think it's my bias that I just don't want to believe it, that he is not still with us in the land of the living. And so earlier I was watching a documentary about him, and well, it was about him being a clone now, and it's one of those things where there's a person like myself on YouTube, but what they're doing is showing a lot of clips that other people have produced, so a whole montage, basically, of coverage of this guy, and before and afters, and life history, and all of that. And the whole time, I'm thinking, is he or isn't he, right? So they get to the Truman part, which is so deeply embedded in, like, his story, and particularly what I'm talking about right now, and the awareness and the awakening he had. Like, maybe I should just link that video so you can see what I'm talking about, but if you have been following his career, you know that at one point he started, like, sort of turning on the business and calling it out, and it kind of shows all of that, so I should link that video. Please don't hate me if I don't remember. I'll do my best to remember. But it was while I'm watching that part of the Truman Show, which the reason why that's so significant in one way is that it kind of became his life. Like, it, not exactly, but the thing that I can most brings that that makes that true for me is in the Truman Show movie, he's living his life and everything's like, well, if you're watching the movie, you realize, like, this is, like, too good to be true. It looks like a children's book. It looks totally fake. And then you find out that it is But the surprise is that Truman doesn't know. And so the reason why that's important is because that's all of us now. We all live in that world. Like, we call it the Matrix, but I think that confuses people. I think if everybody saw the Truman Show, it's much more clear. If that's the same message as the Matrix, that we live in a fake world, the Truman Show is like the Matrix for dummies or whatever. Because when I saw the Matrix, and I saw all of them multiple times, I got that, like, Neo went from the normal world to, like, the real world. But in the intervening time, but when I saw it at the time, I was just like, oh, weird fiction, whatever, cool, visuals and whatever like that. But I didn't think it was this huge message. Like, I saw it, but it wasn't, like, as big of a deal as it is now, because then I was Truman. Like, I didn't understand, like, oh, my world is the fake world. But more and more, like, every day, it's a lot of things. But I'm not gonna say what my feelings are. I'm not gonna let you have your own, because I'm sure you do. If you're Truman, or you have suddenly realized, oh my God, I am Truman, and everything about my whole life is fake and manufactured, and who's even real? Who can I trust? It's like this kind of existential crisis. And evidently that's what happened to Jim Carrey too. Is like, and then he's in like an extreme version of the entertainment industry where, there's in this video that I hope I will remember to link, but he does an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel, and he starts talking about the Illuminati and showing the sign that everyone recognizes that's in the know about that. And part of what I've learned about that group of individuals, or basically I'll just leave it at that, because it's I don't have time right now, but they don't like to be exposed. They're all up in everything, connected to so many people that are right in front of us, but just a few. Like, one is the guy from the E-Files. That guy, we're all finding out, is more involved and integrated in our lives and our entertainment and everything that builds up our Truman world. That, like, when everybody learns, they're just going to be so much more sick and disgusted and appalled. And I guess we're going to have to bust down the walls of the set that we live in on well, now it's not the Truman Show, now it's the Everybody Show. That was just the keyhole that we got to look through to see. Like, I, again, watched that and had no thought in my mind that was actually my reality. No longer. I have since learned, and, we all will, that's kind of what this time is about right now. So that's, like, in an action movie kind of way, interesting and wow. Makes you want to be careful what you ask for, though. So, yeah, that's, I think I said it. I think I said enough. Thank you, and good night.